Hello everyone and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Rachel Klein and I will be your presenter here for the next 20 minutes. Today we're going to be talking about creating a mail merge or an export from the membership module in Church Windows. We're going to be walking through that process, how to pull the people that you want, along with how to get the information for those people out of the program. Okay, so I have Kellyanne logged in with me today. She will be available to ask questions. There are a bunch of people signed up for today's webinar. Last time I checked, we were at like 150, I believe. So there's just two of us here from Church Windows, so if you do have questions, I ask that you try to keep them on topic. If you could, please, if you have a question that's specific to your data, or if you have a question that has to do with something other than creating an export, just send us an email, please, to support@churchwindows.com, and we will do our best to get you an answer that way. Keep in mind, I don't actually look at the questions till I'm done presenting. I find that if I'm trying to read a question and present at the same time, that I tend to get myself all mixed up. So I actually have that closed up. I will look at that at the end once the presentation is over. Feel free to ask your question then. But Kellyanne, she's signed in. She can answer if you have a quick question on the fly and want to just type that in. She will give you a typed response as well. Okay. Now, the topic for today, the mail merge export, comes from one of our workbooks. It actually comes from our Membership 203 workbook, specifically pages 35 through 40. So if you find that's something you would like to purchase, you can do so out on our website at churchwindows.com. Under beginning, if you go to our training workbooks, these are all of our workbooks that are available to purchase. They're $12 if you want to download it, print it yourself. And then you can also spend $22 if you would like a pre-printed binder ready format that we will actually mail to you. But like I said, today we're talking about Membership 203, which is right here. And we're looking at pages 35 through 40. This is being recorded as well, so I will get it recorded and put up on the website by end of day today. So if you want to rewatch it or you want to share this, feel free to do so once I get it posted on the website. Just head back to churchwindows.com, go to our support center, and you'll be able to watch all of our previously recorded webinars as well. Also, if you're having any audio issues, keep in mind if your desktop's streaming into another machine, like I'm currently sitting in my office at home, streaming into my computer at work. If that's the case, you might come across some audio issues. If you're using computer audio, when in doubt, do the phone call option down there under audio, switch it to phone call, and then just dial in. That's how I'm actually presenting for you today, is from my phone. Okay? All right, let's go ahead and get started here. As you can see, Church Windows is up. Current version is 22.19.2. That's up here in the top right-hand corner of your software. This is our current version to date, so this is the one we'll be working in. I'm going to go ahead and open up Membership. Now, I know a lot of people are probably doing mailings right now with so many people being at home and the normal church gatherings aren't occurring. What I'm going to walk you through is how to go in and pull those specific people that you need to be in contact with, or that you want to just pull information out of the software and maybe put it in Excel or use it someplace else. But the example that the book goes through would be if you have a specific group of committee members that you want to pull up. And let's say we specifically want those committee members that don't have an email, because we're going to contact them a different way. So that's what we're going to go over today, how to look at it, pull up a specific group of people, and how to pull up those people that don't have an email. That's just the specific criteria that I'm going to show you today, but I'm also going to point out some other options that you have when doing an export. Okay. So now that membership is open, you can go right here to reports in the middle, or you can come up here to reports and export up at the top, go to reports and labels, and then right here go to reports directory export. Those two buttons are going to take you to the exact same place, whether you go here in the middle or up here. As soon as you click on that reporting option, it's going to take you to step 1. Okay? When you're building reports in Church Windows in membership, there's always 2 steps. There's a step 1 for who you want to see on the report itself, and then there's going to be a step 2, which I'll show you next, which is how you set up what information for those people you need to see, and in this case, what information you need to export out. Okay? So if you look up here at step 1, it says select who should appear on the report. So this is who we want to see, okay? And for our example, we want to see committee members who do not have an email address, okay? So I'm going to show you how to input that criteria. Right here on the Query Builder tab, we're going to start at number 1, and it says Edit People Selection Criteria. This is where you go to put in the criteria or who you want to see on your report, okay? Now we have the Edit People Selection window appears. Where it says Select a Membership field, if you hit the drop arrow here, you have a whole bunch of different options for what you want to query on, or what information, or what people you need. Again, this is your who. So for us, we're going to start with committee members. So I'm going to choose Group Classes, and I'm going to just jump in here and go down to my committees as my category, and then here are my 3 committees that I want to pull. I only want people that are part of these 3 committees. I'm going to check those 3. I'm going to leave it in the present, and I'm going to hit Add Selection. And as you can see, that criteria has now popped it below. So at this point, the program is only going to pull people that are in one of those 3 groups. Okay? You have a lot of other information here as well you can pick from, though. So let's say you want someone of a particular status code, or you want someone who has a particular birth date, something to that effect. All of that can be done right in here where it says Select a Membership field. Okay? All right, so the other piece of criteria that we want is people who don't have an email address. So the next field that I'm going to select is email address. And I'm going to put in is blank. I want people who don't have an email, okay? Once I select that, I need to hit my AND button first, and then I'm going to hit plus selection. So these are the 2 pieces of criteria people have to meet for them to show up on my report, okay? Again, if anybody is having trouble with the audio, try the phone call option. I see some people putting in notes here that they're having trouble with audio. If that is the case, try switching over to the phone call option and dial in, put in your access code. That's going to be the best option, okay? All right, great. Let me switch back here, back to the topic. All right, email address is blank. These are the 2 options that we have set up here. I'm going to go over to the right. You do have some giver number options here as well. If that is something you want included on your criteria, maybe you just want people with a giver number, or maybe you only want people with a range, a giver number within a particular range, you would then specify that over here on the right. Okay? But for this, I'm not worried about it, so I'm not going to change anything. Also, your categories, you can specify if someone is a member or a visitor. If you need to only choose members, you would uncheck visitors and vice versa. But again, for this, I'm not going to change anything. Okay? I'm going to hit my OK button to input that criteria, and it takes me back to step 1. Now, I also have some options up here across the top. If I want to choose anything involving giving accounts, I could go up to that Giving Accounts tab. Again, for this example, I'm not worried about that. But the next thing I'm going to go over here to is the Sort tab. This is the order that I want my people to be exported in. Okay. For this example, I want alphabetical order. So sort field 1, it says name, last, first, alphabetical. That is going to put everyone who meets that criteria in alphabetical order. Okay. Now, another really nice feature about the step 1 option is you can come down here and you can save this selection. So let's say this is going to be a criteria that you're going to use regularly, and you want to be able to pull that criteria back up again. If that's the case, use this save selection feature down here and save it so you can make it again. So let's call this committee members with no email address. So I'm going to save it as that, say OK, and now when I come back here in the future, I can hit the down arrow and simply choose committee members with no email address, and it will refill in all that criteria that I previously entered. Okay. All right, I'm going to go ahead and hit next now that I have my who, and I'm going to get to step 2, where that's going to allow me to build the export. Okay, so what information for those people do I want exported out of the program? All right, so top left here on step 2, you have a bunch of different options for the formats of how you want the report layout to be. For this example, I'm going with mail merge export. And I'm going to come right below that and I'm going to hit the new button and I'm going to create my export that I want. I will just call this contact information. I'm going to say OK. As soon as you put the title in of what you want to call the export, the column selector screen is going to appear. Once you see that column selector screen, you have to tell the program what information you want exported, okay? So you have 2 sections. You have the available column section here on the left, and then you also have the visible column section here on the right, okay? Whatever fields you have over here on the right, these are going to be the fields that are going to be exported for the people that meet your criteria, okay? So let's say along with their last name and their preferred name, I also want their address information. So I'm going to come over here to the right under current address, and I'm going to tell it what fields I also want exported. So I'm going to highlight address 1. I'm going to hit this right facing arrow, and it's now going to move to the right, showing me that it's going to be included on my export. I'm going to go with address 2 as well. You can also double click the fields over here on the left if you wish, so you don't have to come back over here and use the little right facing arrow. And I'm going to do zip code. All right, so right now I have last name, first name, or preferred name, address 1 and 2, city, state, and zip code. Now you can also include some contact information. Now whatever fields you see over here on the left, these are the fields that are available for you to export. So phone and email fields, that section is right here. If you jump over in here, we can move over cell phone and email. You can also move over a primary phone if you wish. And then back over here on the left, under other, there's a whole bunch of information here as well that you can move to the right and easily export for your report. Now you can change the order. So the order that these fields are listed in, these are going to be the order of the columns this report will be put into if you decide to take it to Excel, which I'm going to show you in a minute. So I'm going to just adjust these columns just a little bit because I want my email and my cell phone numbers down at the bottom here. And then I want my address information tied up at the top. Okay, just so it's a little bit neater once I put it into Excel. Right? Once you have the fields set up that you want, I'm then going to come down here and hit OK. Now, here, back on step 2, you can see in the drop box, contact information, that was the name of the report that I set up. If you look in here, any past or previously made exports, they're going to be saved here. So this mailing label and address report, this was a report that just had the person's name and their address information. And then this report had contact information, so along with their address it had their phone numbers and their emails. These are stored here. These are always going to be available for you to reuse, regardless of who you pick on that step 1. So say the next time you come in here to run a report on step 1, you do age is over 59. You can then, on step 2, reuse this contact information report, and it'll pull their names, their address, and their phone and emails for you. Okay, so you can reuse these reports on step 2 no matter who you pick on step 1, excuse me. Okay, which is really nice. You don't have to remake it each time. All right, if we look down here at the lower half, you can see these are the people that met our criteria that we put in on step 1. So these are our people that are on a committee and that have no email address. All right, so this is who is going to be exported out. Over here on the right under export options, first thing here, this file location box, this is where the export is going to be saved to. So I'm at home working on my laptop. You can see this is the location on my computer that it's going to save. If you want to change it, you can hit this little dot, 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 and you can browse to someplace else. So let's say I want to put it on my desktop. I'll choose desktop, and we'll save it there instead. Also, the delimiter. This is whether you want the file to be exported in a tab or a comma delimited file. So if you go with tab, it's going to be a .txt file. If you go with comma, it's going to be a .csv for comma separated value. I'm going to go with comma because that puts it into Excel typically, which is a nice, neat format to work with. And then you also have the option here, if you're doing anything with birth dates, there's a couple options here for you as well. And now I'm going to go ahead and hit export. And it's going to start building that exported report for me. It's then going to tell me file has been created in. It's giving me the location, and it asks me if I'd like to open that folder. I'm going to say yes. Oh, sorry, I got 2 monitors. So now you can see right up here at the top, contact information. I'm going to go ahead and open this up. And as you can see, here is the report itself. Now again, I slipped email in here. For that criteria that we use, these people did not have email. So it's good that this is all blank. Cell phone. If we had any cell phones for these people, they would show here. Primary phone, this is their primary phone number. And then as you can see, here is their address information as well that I asked to be exported. Okay? And that's simple. Now at this point, you can do whatever you would like with the data now that it's out of Church Windows. Right, and keep in mind too, now on step 2, if I go back into Church Windows, we now have this report saved. So anytime you need to do another export with your names, your addresses, and your cell phones and emails, it's going to be saved for you to use again. Okay? All right, folks, that covers everything I wanted to go over for you on how to export your data from Church Windows. So putting in your criteria of who you want and then building the export on how you want that data pulled out.